aka Diz, and this is The Force Always.
Okay, so welcome to the Star Wars show. Let's get on with the news. Star Wars Celebration for Anaheim 2020 was cancelled a couple of weeks ago, and it's being moved to 2022. I was in contact with the organisers of this event in the last week to find out if it is actually cancelled or postponed. What they're doing is taking care of the transfer of tickets and the cancellation of some tickets to the patrons that bought them, and then they will then resell the tickets. At what stage it is unannounced. Even though it's a couple of years away at the moment, so I wouldn't be surprised for quite a while. So all the days could be available, but they are in the process of just transferring all the tickets that were sold for Anaheim 2020 to 2022. It's been moved to that that date. And they're also taking on people who wanted to cancel their tickets completely. So that's from the organisers that I spoke with, emailed with, and that's what they've told me at this stage. I'll keep you updated on any developments with that. But if you do want to cancel your ticket or get a transfer, do it now through StarWarsCelebration.com. Two more news, just to let you know, the Skywalker saga that is, it's a big box set, maybe about this big, with all the Star Wars films from 1 to 9, and even the standalone films with a great presentation. A little bit overrated, but it's still very good to get. It retails here in Australia, Melbourne, Australia, $3.99. But I've noticed supplies are still very high availability, which is saying to me that the success of this package could be a little bit not so desired by a lot out there. They haven't been snapped up by collectors. Basically, they are just for the taking. I know you can get 4 or 5 units, and which is a number, quite a number to be honest, in a number of stores across Melbourne. I'm sure you can get this still in your home part of the world, whether it's America, England, or Canada, anywhere, Australia. But look, I would definitely get one. I think it's a bit overpriced here in Australia. $3.99 is a lot to fork out, especially when you have multiple versions of it already, as I do, especially with the 3D version of Force Awakens and things like this. But yeah, so the sales are not so great for that particular Skywalker Saga box set. But go to your favourite retailer now, maybe purchase it, an early buy for a Christmas present for one of your good Star Wars friends. And I could be that person if you want. But anyway, so that's pretty much the news this time around. Not a whole lot to sort of speak about, obviously at this point in time. But let's get now into views. Views this time around is about my story ideas. It's not about predictions. It's not about how many views one gets on a YouTube channel. It's all about my story ideas. It could be in a song of a story of Star Wars. It could be a poster, a story idea with a poster, because there is a lot of story to be told in a poster. It could be a trailer. It could be a standalone film. The saga that continues to this day. But this time around is what can really save Star Wars at the moment. Look, personally, it's safe with me, and a number of you guys out there too. But I think it is in a lot of non-desirable feel at the moment. What can really save Star Wars? I think the story that will save Star Wars right now is a good, hard, in a funny way of speaking, bang. And I think it should come from as it being a Darth Vader film. Now, to hardcore Star Wars heads, it's not that original. We know a lot about Darth Vader, but we don't really know a lot between, Revenge of the Sith and actual A New Hope, which is technically 3 and 4. That's episodes 3 and 4. I think the type of film that, and I've said this before, it should be like an almost horrific, brutal type film, almost to the level of like Logan, if you know that film Logan, of Wolverine. That sort of real look and real gritty, hardcore action, sort of, not just action, straightforward action. You want it to be gritty, you want it to be real, you want to feel it, but it needs to almost edge itself in horror. And I think a Darth Vader film, even though it sounds pretty typical as an idea, even though it is, I think that's what will really get the excitement and a beginning for Star Wars again. The only thing I'll say is that I think Disney has made a big effort to try and further themselves from the, what we know Star Wars as, in trying to create their own, which is fair enough. And Darth Vader is not their own. It was created way, way long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But I think it just needs to come off hardcore like this. But it's got to be like a real gritty film. Almost to the point where, even like Logan, but also like the first time I saw a Dark Knight, The Dark Knight or A Dark Knight, and you saw Heath Ledger as the Joker. I mean, the second I saw him in that sort of real messy look, I thought, this is different. But it looked good, and it was really just real. It just had a real look to it. And I think, and that impact has lasted to this day. In fact, it's one of the most favourite movies of the comic book franchise out there by a lot of us, including myself. And I think Darth Vader needs to be dealt with in such a horrific, gritty way, and an interesting storyline that is obviously in the timeline between them. But really, Star Wars, the other thing it needs to do is just keep going forward. That's the other part of it. But if they're going to save themselves at the moment, Disney, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, that's a really good idea to do. Even Mr. Tatiti, who's going to be directing and writing the next Star Wars film, which is scheduled to be released in 2022. If that's the film, look, I'm all for it. But if it's not, it's great. I've said what I thought the next 3 films should be, as there's been an announcement, as I've said, and as Disney has said, there's going to be one in 2022, 2024, 2026. I've told you my ideas about that. That's to another episode in the future, if I'm going to re-talk about that. But anyway, that's my Star Wars story idea in views for this time around. Let's get into reviews. Now, as The Mandalorian behind the scenes has come to an end, The Mandalorian Season 2 is way come to an end a long time ago. We're waiting for Season 2. The best review that I can come up with at the moment is Disney Plus's attempt to put all the Star Wars films together in one location on Disney Plus. What do I think? I think it's fantastic. I think they've done a great job. It's just like, at fingertips with your phone or your device, whether it's a pad or whether it's a laptop, or it's just great. Everything is there, including the special features, just at your fingertips. I am definitely a person that likes a hard copy of things. I like to get the steelbook versions of things, Blu-ray or DVD. I like the hard copy of things, but I think Disney Plus have done a great effort in putting that all together. They've included a number of things within the Star Wars area on Disney Plus, including that cartoon, The Resistance, which I still haven't seen, but Clone Wars, Rebels, all of it. There's even the Lego sort of things that are there. So I think they're doing a great effort. I'd rank the lineup on Disney Plus for Star Wars, if you're a Star Wars fan, hardcore Star Wars fan, or even if you're not, a 9 out of 10. It's fantastic. I just think the point that is being lost is that there's just nothing in continuous flow at the moment, and there's a bit of a blank area. So hardcore Star Wars fans like myself, and maybe you guys out there, just like to get new content all the time. The momentum was stopped a little. It needs to sort of pick itself up again. But anyway, that's my review. 9 out of 10 for Disney Plus's Star Wars content. Check that out on whatever device you have. Anyway, so let's get into now interviews. It's 2Q, 2 questions where I ask myself for you guys out there. First question is, my goodness, the first question is Baby Yoda. What is, so the Funko Pop Baby Yoda, you pretty much can get it anywhere at the moment. The classic one at the moment, just the sort of, straightforward figure. There is another 4 coming out. What do I think of it? I think it's I'm not really a Funko Pop person. I have collected a number of Funko Pops, not just Star Wars, a number of other ones. I'm not overly excited for them. I think they're a bit over cartoon, but they seem to take a big space in a lot of, geeks type shops, retail shops, nerd shops that I go to. I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. Star Wars, that is. And I think the ones that there's a couple more coming out, 4 variations. They look okay. They're not great. I think the first one that was released was fine. That's it. But the answer. What do I think of them? I think they're okay. The answer to the question is, what do I think of the Funko Pops of all the Baby Yodas? They're okay. They set it off to enough. Especially Baby Yoda, though, the advantage of it being a Funko Pop is the Funko Pop looks like the actual character itself. The Baby Yoda looks like a Funko Pop himself or herself. So it sort of gives that advantage of realism. That's what I'll say. But my second question is, what is a Baby Yoda merchandise that you should get that is very hard to get at this stage? I have seen, I don't know if it is actually available, I've done a search, but if you can get the hard card version, this is it, the hard card version, classic figurine for Star Wars of the child Baby Yoda, this would definitely be a prized possession. And I think would just be one of those collector type things that not many of us would have, as this is sort of, a very old figure sort of presentation. I love it. I'm still for it. I don't know if many out there would really demand for it. I think, the Black Series and Funko Pops tend to be the ones everyone buy. But this one, I would definitely look out for if you're a hardcore collector, and if it does exist, because I still cannot find where you can actually get this. I've done a bit of an investigation, cannot find it. But anyway, that's the one you should get. That's the answer to the question, what is a Baby Yoda merchandise you should get? It's this hardcore classic version of an action figure, Baby Yoda, the child. If you can get it, get it. Anyway. So that is the Star Wars news, views, reviews, and interviews for this time around. I'm here on a weekly basis. Subscribe to the channel. The Force Always only on YouTube. You can contact me via YouTube or on my information down there, which is on Twitter, Instagram. Ask me any question you'd like. I'm here on a weekly basis, as I said. And until next week, keep that is, keep rocking.